on the November 2024 What's Neat.
We continue on with layout construction, where I'm working on the scene that I shared with you last month, where we were lighting this diorama with the brand new Atlas LED lights. The What's Neat show is sponsored by Lombard Hobbies, your value hobby shop for over 40 years of modelers helping modelers. Big inventory, value pricing, fast shipping, and great service. And by Broadway Limited Imports, the cutting-edge leader in model trains. Check out their website at broadway-limited.com. And by Bachmann Trains. Now that's the way to run a railroad. Check out their website at bachmanntrains.com. And thank you for helping us support the best hobby in the world. This is What's Neat for November 2024. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, and this month we've got a good show in that we continue on with layout construction, where I'm working on the scene that I shared with you last month, where we were lighting this diorama with the brand new Atlas LED lights. And as we continue on this month, we will work all the way up to the point of putting block switches into that diorama. It's really handy to be able to remove that, and I can't believe how much work can be done on a simple flat diorama. All the super detailing work, all of the buildings, all of the different things that are going to be added in the future that we're going to cover on the show. It's just amazing how detailed you can get. Also this month we've got some great drone footage from our drone pilot Dan Scheidel. This is of the Big Boy 4014 running through the Feather River Canyon. Absolutely magnificent footage. I love modeling ideas from above because it really illustrates how easy the scenes could be. When you look at the scene of the rugged terrain, you see the locomotive, you see the scenery, you see the creek. It almost looks like you're standing next to a layout, a piece of bench work, because you literally see it from the same perspective that you would if you were viewing a layout. The drone footage really illustrates how simple scenes should be, because all of the answers are right there in front of you. So enjoy this segment this month. Also, Bachmann Industries comes by and shares with us all of the new products for Christmas this season. Doug Blaine shares a lot of the train sets in HO scale, ON30, N scale, O scale, O scale 3, just amazing amounts of train sets that Bachmann makes, and they share them with us this month. I've got a neat product here from Broadway Limited. This is something that I read about and I got really excited about it. I've got a test programming track set up right here, and what this device is called is a CV setter. It will read the CVs of a locomotive's decoder and or program the CVs, each one individually with this device, not connected to a layout, not connected to anything except for a power supply that I've got plugged into the ceiling here. And let me kind of show you how this works. The instructions that came with it state that you really probably don't need to read the instructions. I found that to be kind of funny when I first picked it up and looked at it. And that's because all of the processes are written on the back of the unit, and it's very, very simple process. There's only a few buttons and a really nice LED readout display on this thing. And I will shoot some B-roll to illustrate exactly what I'm doing. But how many times have we found a locomotive, or friends brought an engine over, and you don't know what the address is of the locomotive? And you're sitting there on your system trying to figure it out. Well, with this, you can just simply read the CV value of, number one, the address, and it will tell you. And I'm going to show you how to go about that right now. I'm going to the back side here where the instructions state to read a CV, for example. So I press the yellow CV value button, which I'm doing right now. And then it says press in the number of the address that you would like to read using the 3 select buttons on the front. Well, I want to simply read number 1, which is the decoder address. And then I would simply, as it says on the back here, press the read track button right here. Or I have the choice of pressing the read decoder button if I had a decoder plugged into this device. But here it goes, read track, and now the device is going to take a few seconds to read what this decoder is. And I know that most of my decoders, as is the running joke, all my engines are programmed for number 3. Well, this GATX locomotive happens to be programmed for number 20, and it says so right here. Let's say that we want to program it for number 3. So what I do is I look on the back of the device one more time, and it says what the steps are to set a CV, and I only see 5 lines to read. Press the CV value button, that's the yellow button right here, and then it says use the 3 select value buttons to select the CV number that you want to set. Well, I want to set number 1, so I've got it set up for number 1 already here. And then it says the next step is to press the CV value button again until the C is no longer showing. So I'm going to do that. And then it says use the select CV value buttons to select the CV that you want to set it for. And I want to set this locomotive for number 3. And then I set. And the device is now programming the decoder from number 20 to number 3. And I believe this takes about 20 seconds. And there it is, number 3. How simple is that? Really cool device from Broadway Limited, the CV setter. Took just a little time to explain it, but I think it's worth checking out. Check it out at the Broadway Limited Imports website, or I'm sure Lombard Hobbies in Lombard, Illinois. That wonderful shop that we visited last October will be stocking this product because they've got an array of Broadway Limited steam locomotives and diesels in the cases when we are up there. It's such a pleasure to be able to look at that merchandise. So be sure to check out the What's Neat This Week video podcast that we shoot down here every Saturday night, keeping you updated as to what's new in the hobby with our special guests, a lot of the special product reviews. Otherwise, it's just hobby shop banter. It's a fun show in this, the best hobby in the world. Check it out on YouTube. And so with that, let's continue on with the rest of this November 2024 What's Neat. For this segment of What's Neat, we continue on from where we left off. Working on this scene, working on the lights, it's unbelievable how much time and how many different things you can do on a simple flat diorama. But look forward to this segment where we wrap up all the lighting on this scene and then continue on as future videos will show us super detailing the scene with telephone poles, lights, signage, additional buildings, more trackage, and additional lights. So now we're going to continue right where we left off, raw, working on this section right here and cutting the rails. In order to get a train running right away, as I'm waiting for more lights for that scene over there, I decided to cut the rail at 1-inch spaces, and I'll use N-scale rail joiners in this code 70 microengineering rail and make 1-inch sections to just simply put into place here. And then I'll be able to do that to all of the tracks all the way across, but I want to get one track open right now, as I also may start putting in the block wiring for these tracks as I'm waiting for more lights for the scene over there. So I'm supposed to be 6 hours into the edit on this week's podcast, and I have been puzzling over the fact that in the last few clips I've showed you of the finished lights, they seemed really dim. And I'm going to turn off this light and show you. I hooked up a couple of Woodland Scenics lights just to see how they compared to the Atlas lights. And as I hooked them up to the linker plugs, I suddenly discovered that, okay, I spent all that time soldering the resistors onto the Atlas lights as per the instructions of the Atlas lights. And not realizing, and I did make the video in 2017 in March or April on the Woodland Scenics lighting system, that the lighting system, after you run it through the light hubs and run it through the resistor, the LED lights actually get a current of about 2.8 volts. So I checked the voltage on my lights, what they were getting on the other side of the resistor, and they were getting 2.2 volts, almost 2.3 volts. So I was losing about 25% of my brightness simply because I had double resistors going on. So I pulled all of the resistors out from underneath the diorama in the last 2 hours and hardwired the Atlas lights that I just installed directly to the linker plugs of the Woodland Scenic system that got resistors built in. And to my delight, I'm going to turn off this flashlight. The lights look magnificent. They are in fact 25% brighter than they were earlier in the night, which was driving me nuts. It just didn't quite look right to me and I was kind of disappointed. But my mistake is I'm trying to pull this card around here and show you this with the level tilt here. It looks so much better. I put a couple of the lights inside the building, just stuck them in there. Those are the lights that are sticky lights that come with the light hubs. And I've got the light hub turned down that's inside the building. It's just laying inside there. You can actually see it right there in the building. And it's just laying there, and I'm just utilizing it right now just to light up the building so that it would not look so dark in the scene. And I'm just standing back and looking at it. Here's the Woodland Scenics light pole light that they've got. Right in the middle is the Atlas light. And then I put another Woodland Scenics, their modern looking light right here, just to see how it would compare with the other lights for brightness. And right now everything is about the same. I think everything's looking dynamite. So I'm going to continue on with this project. I need to get a podcast out and do some other work around here and kind of put this on hold. The trains do run through it, as I did show you a few minutes ago. I in fact did put in 1-inch pieces of rail here where all the rail joiners are. And I don't expect that you can see this. Yes, you can. 1-inch pieces of rail. It's very discreet. I've just got to go along and finish the rest of that. But right now I've got one main line open, which is all I want at the moment while I edit video, and I'll let a train run and walk past this and just kind of check it out. But so far I'm very satisfied with the way the results are of this, now that I've taken out the Atlas resistors. I'm actually using the hot foam cutter here to cut out a area where I'm going to put the control panel for the blocks for the 5 tracks that run through this scene. And I'm just starting to cut this out, just like that. And that's the bottom part, so I can get in there and cut the hole for the wood. Now, additionally, I've been taking my time and putting in additional lights. The lights that I had on order have arrived, so I'm putting in a couple more double pole lights and a few lights that are going to run along the street on the top side of the diorama. So what I need to do is wire those all in, and then I'll start working on the lighting inside the building. I plan on putting about 14 lights in the building, and I'm not sure how I'm going to wire that up yet, because primarily the larger lights, the sticky stick-on lights that come with the Woodland Scenic system, I was going to use those for the interior lighting. And each one of those plugs into each one of the light hub sockets, which would require me to put 2 light hubs into the building if 4 of the light hub's power sockets are just taken up only with the roof lighting. Didn't anticipate that. What I might do probably is take the light hub's cases apart and see how small the innards are, and simply work that into the building. Not sure about that. Gotta sit down and think about that, and then we'll go ahead and do that process as well. So looking at the overall diorama now, I've got all of the lights installed. I've got all the light hubs and the expansion hubs right here. I've got the center channel for all of the wiring. I eventually added 4 linker plugs, and I also added probably 5 more lights to the top. And then some of the lights I took out and replaced them with other lights just to see what the effect would look like. And I'm going to show you the top here now. And I've got bar clamps. As you can see, I've got these on either side of the diorama so nothing tips in the event that the cart would get bumped. And here we've got a ton of lights. They're just going to look dynamite. I added some Atlas. They're like street lights. And every one of these lights is going to have to be glued into place and be completely straight, square up and down, which is going to take some time. I also want to get started on this control panel. As you can see, I've talked about this in a previous clip. It is cut out, and now I've got to cut a piece of plexiglass and trim a hole in this and put 5 block switches, 1 for each one of the tracks. And I'm also going to start working on the building to light that. And everything is going to go together pretty quickly at this point. So with the diorama put back into place, I've got all the lights, making sure they all operate. Every one of these has got to be squared up and glued into place. I haven't done that yet. Now I'm turning my attention to the building. And I've got that on the workbench. And what I've got happening here is I've taken apart one of these light hubs. Without the case, it's a lot smaller. And I envision having to put 2 of these in the building. I've taken the roof off the building and I've cut a couple pieces of plexiglass. And the plan is to lay these pieces of Plex into here. And then I will attach these sticky lights. And I want to put 4 of those into the structure, lighting up the bay. Now I cut out the base of the inside of this building right here. And I have a piece of plexiglass that I've cut that will fit into here absolutely perfectly, which will allow me to have a base to which I believe I'm going to put these light hubs so that when the whole building comes out, the light hubs and everything go with it. I just have to unplug the power wires to them. Now my plan is to put gooseneck lamps above every door. And there's 4 doors on the side that's going to be facing. So I've got these Woodland Scenics wall mount lights that I've used in the past. I simply take a pin vise and I'll drill right above the doorway and install the lights and pull the wires through. And then organize the wires in the structure in such a way that it doesn't make a mess, it's not obtuse, it doesn't look bad. The other idea I've got for exterior lightings on this building is I've taken apart some of these Atlas lights that we've been using. These are the modern heads. And I've got one of the heads here and I've got the LED right here. And my plan is to take these heads and I'm going to mount 2 of them to this side, like right here. I'll mount 3 of them to the straight side and then 2 to the end of the building. So that'll be a total of 7 lights that will be high intensity exterior lights, and then the gooseneck lamps above every door, plus the interior lighting. And this building should just be absolutely accentuated with light. So that's the plan. Let's see what happens next. I'm putting on 4 Woodland Scenics gooseneck lamps, one above every doorway. And I'm bending the lamp with my finger so that when I stick it in the wall, it'll be pointing straight down. And I drilled a 3 32nd-inch hole into the building right above the door. And I know that's a little large, but I want to be able to fit this gooseneck lamp all the way inside the hole so that only a portion of it sticks out, not the whole thing, because it's kind of large. It's kind of a little bit maybe oversized. So this wire is super fine. And all I need to do is shove it inside the hole. Of course, pull it through. And I'm going to cut these wires short. The wire on this is about 36 inches long, and I don't need that much wire. I really only need about 6 inches inside this building. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of a super glue here around the edges of the silver bracket, and then I'll be able to put it right inside the hole all the way in so that it sticks out about yay much. And I've got another one mounted right here. You can see what I'm after right there. I've got another one on this corner right here, already mounted in there, the same way with the super glue filling the oversized hole that I made. And that's the goosenecks, how that's going to work. So for the darker security lights that I want to mount onto the building, I'm using these Atlas, the same Atlas lights that we used on the Diorama. These are the double head ones. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling off the metal pole, and there I've got my LEDs, and I've got my 2 light shades. And what I want to do is take the main pole and the LEDs apart, just like this. And then using a razor saw, I'll cut this right at the point of where it would connect to the metal pole. And that leaves me with these light shades, just like this, of which I'm going to take just a little drop of super glue and re-glue the LED into the shade like this. Okay. Once that's dry, I'm going to pull these wires through the building and apply just a little bit of super glue to the very end of the wire right here, and stick it into the building through the very small holes that I'm drilling using this pin vise. And then when it's mounted to the building, it's going to look just like these 2 right here that I've already mounted. Both of those lights, just above the garage door. So I need to put 3 more lights just like this on the side of the building, and then 2 more on the end above the other garage door. And then I'm going to clean up the wires inside the building the best that I can and connect everything up to the light hubs. And we should be able to adjust the gooseneck lamps separate from the security lights all the way around the building the way I'm designing this. And one more thing I didn't point out is I've got this plexiglass right here. 3 pieces, 1, 2, 3. And I've got the little sticky lights mounted to that, which are connected directly to this light hub that I've got inside the building, where I've taken the case off the light hub. And it's just going to set on top of the small plexiglass foundation that I've built in there. So I can easily remove the building, but I can also adjust the potentiometers for each of the set of lights, which I should only have to do once. Once that's set, I'm probably going to use Velcro and stick the light hubs inside the building so they won't move around. So let me continue this process. A few more lights, and I might catch 8 hours of sleep and come back at this, and we'll see how it finishes up. So let me show you how the lights have come out. I've got everything set up now. I've still got to glue in the lights, and I'm going to use silicone for that. That was a great suggestion from Mike Buddy, in that if they get bumped, they're not going to break if they're glued in with silicone. The building, the wires inside of it, have got to be cleaned up. I've just got it put together with the 14 lights in it. I've got an East Coast Circuits little backhoe next to it, since this is going to be some sort of a diesel repair shop for implements. So the lighting is great. The last few lights I added were down here on the end, some Woodland Scenics pole lights. And I'm toying with the idea of putting a road across this end of the module. There would be more lights on top of the road. It would make interesting with vehicles maybe lit up. And I'm also toying with some sort of a business right here on this vacant lot on the other side of the tracks, where I've got room to put another siding. This could be a place where they take grain and put it in bags and transfer it to freight cars. So just toying with that idea on what I could do back there with different ideas. But so far I'm very happy with the way this simple scene is coming out. Now we need to put in blocks to add power to the 5 tracks that are in here. And if I add a siding down there, that'll make a 6th block. The plan was to put them into the side of the layout right here, where I've got a line now drawn. But I need more space than that to put 6 switches. I'm using rocker switches. So I'm going to make this 10 inches wide. And let me show you, I've got a piece of plexiglass that I've cut out to the right size with 1/4 of an inch around it. And I've also got the tightening rings for the rocker switches lined up about where the track pattern would be. So what I need to do is take this, draw circles, and then cut this on the scroll saw. Cut all 6 holes. And then what I'm going to do is mask it from the backside with fine line pinstripe tape. And you've got to do it backwards, because I'm painting the backside of it, so the front will be shiny. And I put the track patterns on the sidings with tape, and then I'm going to paint it, probably blue, pull the tape off, and then I'll be left with the gold track pattern when I spray that area of the plexiglass. So it should look really beautiful, and then try to install it into fascia that's already existing. I've never actually done that before. So that's the plan on this. Let's see what happens next and how this turns out, because we're coming to an end on this segment of video. I know there's a lot of other things that I'm probably going to do, but that'll be more. I'll show you the process of that as we move along. There's a lot of other areas in this layout too to be worked on and changed. So let's continue on and see what happens next. Okay, I'm to the point of gluing in the lights on the scene. And I puzzled on that because the topography is uneven. I couldn't just take a regular square block and square up the light poles. And I could do it by eyesight, of course. But it wouldn't be a great video if we didn't come up with a good concept on this, on how to do this. And I did just that, and this thing that I created could also be created out of a block of wood. But let me show you what I'm doing here. First of all, I thought of different ways to glue these lights in. White glue, you go through the glues, lots of different possibilities. And what I've come to the conclusion of is that I had to lock the wheels. Silicone was a good answer because, and I've glued one light in already, silicone remains flexible. So if you bump it, it's not going to break off, but it's also not going to come out. So it gives me some flexibility because this area will be bumped. So I've taken this machinist's gauge and I took out the point for the gauge. And I put in a piece of brass tube instead that would fit of the same size, and then I put an eyelet, a very small eyelet, this is a big one, into the brass tube, which would create sort of a holder, which is what I've got right here. And I've got a light in place being held. I'm going to take this camera off so I can show it to you closer. So I've got this light being held in place by the little hook on the machinist gauge here, and it's completely adjustable so that I can square this up while the glue sets up and just let it sit there in the hook. It'll be perfectly square because I will double check it. I do have a square which is usable to some degree, again, even though the topography is uneven. But so far the light that I've installed here is perfectly square, it looks decent, and I've got an awful lot more to go. So essentially, let me do this for you. I'll stop this camera and I'll start recording on how I glue this in. So I'm going to pull the light just out a little bit, and I'm going to place some silicone on the bottom of the light, this metal pole. I'm going to rotate the light so the silicone gets all the way around it very lightly. And I'll place it back in the hole and clean up any excess. Like that. And this light's setting pretty square just the way it is, but to double check the work with this tool, I will hook the tool around the light shaft, the pole. And then I can see it's crooked now. And then I will use my square to double check line of sight of my work. And that looks really good. So I'm going to let this device hold this light into place and just let this set up. Just until the silicone sets up, and I'll move on to the next light and ditto, ditto, ditto all the way across for all the different lights. So in order to speed up the process, I made multiple devices to hold the lights straight. Here you just see a simple steel weight with a zip tie tied to it, and the loop goes right over the top of the light and allows me to square up the light in both directions using a level with a bubble in it. That gives you absolute square. Here you can see another steel weight, same idea, temporary and quick. I really like the way the machinist scale handled the situation. Just the rubber loop on the end that goes all the way around the light, allowing you to straighten it in any direction, but yet still get it off of the light. What a neat tool. So I'll keep that piece of brass tubing and use that for future reference on any other parts of the layout. So check out this video clip I made right before I glued in the lights. It gives me all the excitement of what this scene will eventually come out and be. It's going to be exciting as we continue on with a lot more detail that needs to be added on to a scene just like this. And so with that, that ends this part of this segment for What's Neat. For this segment of What's Neat, I'm with Doug Blaine from Bachmann Industries in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Hey, Doug, welcome to the What's Neat Show. How are you today?
Just fine, thank you, Ken. And yourself?
It's awesome. Fall has started here. Model railroaders are excited about getting back into their basements and working through the winter on their beautiful art farms. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm kind of excited this year about it.
Well, you're right, it is fall, but you know what? I'm going to pretend there's snow outside. I'm going to pretend we got wind blowing, snow blowing, maybe a plow's going by on the road.
Okay.
Because I want to talk Christmas and holidays now with some holiday-themed product for you in terms of train sets and some separate sale items.
No, very good. All the boxes look very snowy, so you're off to a good start.
Sounds good. You ready to see a few products?
Yeah, show me.
All right, so what we have mostly is train sets, and some of these, we may have shown before in past years.
Yes.
But it's just a friendly reminder what's available for train setup, ready to run under the tree. And when you see these sets, think about sharing the hobby with other people. Maybe get somebody started with a complete ready to run train set. This is a Great North Pole Express set, passenger set. Looks great under the tree, nice long cars. This comes with 22-inch radius tracks so that the cars will look good going around the curves, and a good steam and passenger option. So we've got several more sets.
No, that's nice. Just the right amount of cars too. And you can add cars to a set like that, can you? Sure you can.
Of course.
Yep.
So yeah, and we do have additional separate sale cars in Christmas themes as well.
Oh, nice.
There's a Jingle Bell Express. I know I'm getting some glare on there. I'm going to try and move things around. Again, the first set was passenger. This is a freight set, another steam set. And as always with our Bachmann sets, complete ready to run, train track, power pack, ready to go. Our snap fit easy track system, it gets you up and running very quickly.
Yes.
Great for under the tree. All right. Next set is a licensed product. This is our Norman Rockwell theme set.
Nice. Good presentation. Yes.
So, and this has on the boxcar there, it's the classic Norman Rockwell illustration from Stockbridge, Massachusetts, his main street there. And that is just a classic illustration from Norman Rockwell, along with some other illustrations from him on the other cars. Just a great Christmas representation from such a well-known artist in the American catalog, I was trying to say.
There you go.
All right.
And I know you're the gentleman responsible for that Norman Rockwell licensing. You are the licensing gentleman for Bachmann, and you've done a fantastic job through the years, Doug.
Thank you. Gonna keep it going as long as I can.
Yep.
All right, this is our Thomas set. This is Santa Saves Christmas. Thomas Saves Santa's Sleigh. This is from a classic episode for the Thomas and Friends series. And the sleigh in there is a great representation, exactly as shown in the episode. Also comes with that's on a flat wagon and a brake van that's got Santa's list, naughty or nice list for boys and girls.
Nice.
So that's Thomas. And another new licensed product we had for this year in HO scale is this Elf on the Shelf set.
Oh, you talked about that last year. Congratulations. Good job on getting that account.
Yes,
Elf on the Shelf was a big deal in the last few years.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We know this is going to be a big hit. So this is in stock now and ready to ship.
Right. You'll have big box stores chasing you for that.
And it's also available from your favorite retailer. It's available on Amazon. So hopefully some people will pick them up and continue this newer tradition for the Elf on the Shelf story.
Very cool.
All right. And we have some sets in other scales as well. I'm going to put this back up. I forgot to mention for the Elf on the Shelf, of course, it's got to come with the Elf on the Shelf figure here.
Mm-hmm. Yes. 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 Be careful what he does at the office at night, Doug, around there.
All right. We'll make sure he's in a safe place and can't get into too much trouble. So anyway, it's posable. You can hide them wherever you want. And make that part of your Christmas tradition. So, all right, so we have an N scale set here.
Okay.
This is an N scale steam freight set.
I don't know why it just popped in my head that this would be perfect for one of those tabletop Christmas tree setups where you're in a smaller little condo and you still want the flavor of a train running around your tree.
Absolutely. Smaller setups, more limited space, train set solution for you.
Perfect.
All right. Then, of course, for under the tree, let's not forget our G scale or large scale sets.
Yes.
This set has been in our line for a while. This is some new packaging. So the Night Before Christmas set, and it's got a beautiful 460 anniversary locomotive in there, along with the open gondola and the caboose.
Let me draw. I'm showing you a clip right now as you're talking of this running around in front of the fireplace.
Terrific.
Yes, I shot some great video of this one year.
That is the way to enjoy this set.
It's beautiful. The sound sounds good too. It's got sound in it.
Yep, battery operated, synchronized sound, synchronized to the chuff. It's got a headlight, and comes with the coal tender, of course, for Christmas. So
Fantastic.
absolutely required for under the tree. And then we have a couple other separate sale items that need to roll up here. There we go. Now these are not available yet, but they will be available later this year. So we have 4 different items here.
And this video will be coming out around November 15th, if I'm right, because this is a November What's Neat we're shooting this far.
That's right. You can tell by the snow outside that this is coming in November, right, Ken?
Exactly. I mean, long sleeve shirt and everything. Yep, we're ready.
All right. Here is an O-gauge little speeder.
Okay.
And I think Larry Harrington showed this the last time he was on the show, so I don't need to do too much with this, but it's got the elf figures on it, and that's a nice, fun item. So that's for O-gauge 3 rail. And then in HO scale, we've got this hopper car. And
Hold it up. There you go. Oh, look at that. Yes.
So the wording on that is Claus Coal Mines, premium quality coal. Santa loves it, kids don't.
Actually, I've asked for coal
Delivering the
before.
coal for stocking. So
Yes.
Nice little fun item. Also in HO scale. Now this is in our Thomas line. So this is a 12-ton van, and it comes with the hook and loop couplers to match the Thomas and Friends line that we have. And what's sort of different about this is it is our only separate sale Thomas Christmas item. Every other Christmas item we have for Thomas comes in a set.
Yes.
So if you want a separate sale Christmas item for Thomas, this is the one to get. This too will be out later this year, as the other items I showed you a separate sale. And then I have one more in N scale and then one more large scale item. So this N scale boxcar, let's see if I can get this up there for you.
Okay. The North Star.
That'll be in later this year as well.
Nice.
That's a present express service boxcar, which is fun. And then, again, this is 2024. And then this item, this is our large scale tank car. This unfortunately will not make it for 24. Got to put this on your wish list for 2025, but we do have a painted sample, and it's a really classic looking car here.
Oh, yes.
Mrs. Claus's wassail tank car. Traditional English Christmas punch, and it's just got a nice classic look to it.
Sure does, Doug. That's fantastic.
So that's our roundup for some of our Christmas items, for sets, for separate sale. And again, be sure to share our hobby with someone you love, somebody new.
Yes.
Bring them in and get them involved. And it's just a great way to share the holiday spirit, the Christmas spirit with other people. So we'll hope you'll do that. And I wish everyone a very happy holiday season and Merry Christmas.
Very good, Doug. Fantastic presentation. And so with that, I can't say it any better than
Ken.
that.
Thanks for having me. And it's always great to be with you and your viewers.
Right. Best hobby in the world, folks, and that is this segment for What's Neat. All of the products seen on this episode of What's Neat are available from Lombard Hobbies in Lombard, Illinois, or order online at lombardhobby.com. And by Broadway Limited Imports, the cutting-edge leader in model trains. Check out their website at broadway-limited.com. Bachmann Trains. Now that's the way to run a railroad. Check out their website at bachmanntrains.com.